do you think, I'm trying to think, when I'm complaining the most is when I'm most able to give in to temptation?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because when we do,
because generally it's because I'm going to justify my behavior.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And then, so check this out. And when you complain and when you whine to justify your own behavior, then what we tend to do is we tend to revert back to those habits that give us, at least temporarily, self TLC, self tender loving care, usually the satisfaction of an appetite. I would say the satisfaction of an appetite. So whether it be food or drink or sex or shopping, whatever it might be, that's where we tend to go. And then we justify our behavior. We say something, oh, woe is me. And I'm going to alleviate that woe by engaging in this pleasurable habit that actually is further spiritual death. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then that's why there's such a prohibition about giving in to despair.
Exactly. And it silos us off, right? It's when we despair and when we engage in like this infantile victimization, we wall ourselves off from authentic human connection, right? So this would be the difference. This would be something like unhealthy isolation, or that kind of like no one gets me, which just isn't true, right? But that's very isolating. That walls us off. And that walls us off from true connection with God, and then it walls us off from true connection with one another. And then you just become, and then that just leads you further into despair. So you think to yourself, well, I'll just be by myself. Who is the one person that I can tolerate? Well, that's just not.
Or that's the one person I'm not going to have to complain about.
That's until you look deeply at yourself and you find your own blind spots, your own flaws, and you go, ugh, I'm not as perfect as even I thought I was. And that just leads you further into despair.
Well, I mean, and that's what I think the story of the wilderness does.
Yeah, say more about that.
It was just the first time I read, I'm like, I think I've said this on the podcast before. It's like, dude, he just opened the Red Sea, and you're complaining,
right?
And then it's like, wait a minute, he gave you bread, and
quail,
yeah, like everything's taken care of, and like,
yeah,
and you're still bitching,
yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I'm a American in 2026 right. Who lives in Glendale, and look at me.
Right. We all have that tendency, right?
Yeah.
We all have that tendency, and we tend to fluctuate, I think. We tend to go there, and we've talked about that before, just like between consolation and desolation, good moods, bad moods, we tend to vacillate between those two. And yeah, if you're not careful, you can get sucked into your own desolation
and bitten by the snake.
Yeah. And what, so there's this line in here. So if you're following along in the book, guys, we're on page 446. So this is when he starts to talk about the serpent. And I'm at the very bottom of that page, the last full paragraph that begins. This is true for individuals and society alike. The abyss is truly bottomless. If you are visited by misfortune, just or unjust, maintain your faith, and you have at least the consolation of your courage to accompany the misery visited upon you. And here it is. If you lose hope, turning instead to the path indicated by a spirit of resentment, arrogance, and deceit, the hell you have already suffered, no matter how bad it is, will be nothing compared to the hell that you will bring about. So that's despair and isolation, right?
Yeah.